We're getting geared up here for the 2027 MLB season. Welcome back, Kansas City Royals fans. If you remember when we last left you, we were coming off a terrible season where we won just 72 games. Our playoff streak ended. Show you it here. 72 and 90. The team lost $28 million. Is that the balance? And that's likely likely why our owner has cut the budget here. If you remember, he'd cut the budget down. I can't remember. I think at the end of the last episode, he cut it to 152, which last year we were at 192. So it was a $40 million drop. And then he did drop it another $2 million. So we're now at 150, and next year we're projected for a budget of 136. So, man, he is pissed about that poor season where we lost a bunch of money. So where should we begin here? Let me just start by telling you this was a fairly uneventful offseason as far as off seasons go, because we're like $19 million over budget. So when you're that far over budget, you really can't take on any salary. Yeah, $19.1 million under budget or over budget. So, we couldn't sign anybody. We couldn't make trades where we took on salary. Now, I did explore some things like, in terms of our big salaries here, I explored trading some of these salaries away. Lopez, since he's a free agent, Singer, since he's going to be a free agent. By the way, I screwed up by retaining that Valdez deal. I don't know why I just was like asleep at the wheel in retaining a salary that didn't come off the books last year. So, Lopez and Singer, there was just nothing interesting that I could get for them and cut salary, and also I'd still be over budget. Like if I traded both of them, I would have like $7 million in budget room. So if I trade my starting shortstop and like my number 1 or 2 starter, I'd then have like $7 million. What am I going to do with that budget room? Now, next year, I think we can take a look at getting rid of some guys who are maybe getting expensive in arbitration, like Nick Lofton. Not that he's getting expensive, but for his production level, he is. So maybe we can find some room next year. But we do have contracts coming off the books. We're really not going to have the money to even make a run at Lopez or Singer at this point. I think really all I can hope for is that we have a turnaround season this year, and then our owner is in a better mood and increases the payroll. One interesting thing is that we won the draft lottery. We would have gone number 6. We moved to number 1. And this is one thing I've never run into at this strategy, because I've never lost $42 million in a budget before. But as you know, I don't budget for the draft because I just use that over my leftover funds. And obviously now I'm kind of screwed because I'm not going to be able to sign anybody. I mean, I would have to, I guess if I traded Singer and Lopez, I'd had like $7 million to spend on the draft, which is still not even the slot of the first overall pick. So, what it is going to happen is we're not going to be able to sign our dude, barring some major turn of events. And then we'll get the number 2 pick next year is compensation. And hopefully we'll have figured out our budget to where then we can sign that guy. So I did, you might notice here that we only have $4 million allotted for scouting. It's because I went to lower it to try to get more within the budget, and I forgot that when you're over budget, it's just gonna if you edit the scouting budget, it's just gonna automatically drop you to the lowest allowable amount. So that would have happened with the development budget too if I had dropped it, but I left it alone because I was just like, all right, well, dropping it was not going to get me under budget, so I might as well just continue to invest in the development, even though if we dropped it to like, what is $6 million the minimum, I think maybe on that, we still would not have budget room. So I left that alone. So as you can see, this is interesting times in Kansas City. We badly need a bounce back year to get buy-in from our owner again. Badly. So I will show you the few moves that I made. I made what I think are a couple good trades relative to the circumstances, right? So let's see. In November, we made a trade with the Boston Red Sox. We got back $1 million in cash, and I think we ended up trading saving some more money too. But we did trade Edison Mora, who was a useful player for us last year. That he put up a 104 WRC plus in 97 plate appearances. I didn't see a big future for him. Defensively, he's fine. He's not going to be great anywhere. I think he's going to strike out too much. He had he was 4% above league average as a hitter, but it took a 429 BABIP to get him there. 2% walk rate, 32% strikeout rate. He was a guy I was 100% willing to trade, and they were definitely interested in him. Betterment Jr., Panzini, more like throw-ins. Manny Rivera was certainly a guy who a lot of teams were interested in. Looks like a pretty good defensive catcher. He's only 18. He hasn't had a good offensive season yet, but the old make this work now button, he was a guy who was often asked for in trade, so he had some value as well. So yeah, I mean, and then Mario Melendez, who was on my 40-man, but really, I have some other catcher depth. I also have MJ Melendez as my starter for a bit. He's a leader, high intelligence. I think there's some value here in this player, but not a guy who is going to hold up a deal over. So we got back a guy, Eduardo Garcia, who is a 70 infield range. He's hit everywhere he's played. He except for these 91 plate appearances in the majors, but then last year had just 17 plate appearances and hit well. But you can see he's, more importantly, he's hit in Double-A, or I guess more meaningfully in terms of sample, he's hit in Double-A and Triple-A. He's got the 70 infield range. He does have one option year left, but I honestly think the second base job might be his to lose based off of his track record and his defense. And then we also go back a guy who we were looking at at the trade deadline yesterday. And Brendan Girton. Never mind. I had a second thought, but I'll leave that alone for now. So Girton has pitched. He pitched 39 innings for Boston in 2025 and put up a 3.86 ERA, 2.28 FIP, and then didn't get a chance again. Then he was an A and Double-A last year, which is weird. They drafted him, I think. Oh no, he was drafted by the Brewers in the 6th round in 2023. So I think he will play at Triple-A to start the year unless he has some amazing spring training. But walks maybe being the only possible concern. But OSA is higher in his control, and he's a starter. Now this stuff will go down when you switch him to starter. Let's see what it goes down to. So yeah, 65. What does my scout think it is? A 65. So interesting arm, I think. Definitely an interesting arm. We'll see if he makes the team. I'm not totally sure yet. We'll go see how spring training goes. But we get a guy who I think could be our starting second baseman, and then a dude who also I think could possibly pitch in our rotation at some point, and we saved some money. So congrats to us for that. Then we made a trade with the who did we make this with? The Dodgers of Los Angeles. We traded Juan Idrogo, who is 24 years old and looks like a decent arm. Now, he missed all of last year with a torn flexor tendon, so he didn't pitch, but was on our 40-man. And we also traded this minor league catcher who, for some reason, they wanted. Cool. But this is the main guy we got back, Brian Buelvis, who looks like a decent hitter. Has some good gap power and avoid Ks. Maybe that gap power will work a little better in Kansas City since our ballpark suppresses home runs, but there are more extra base hits. He can also play a solid left field. He's a right-handed bat, and he's gotten a decent amount of time up with the Dodgers. He's had 700 Major League plate appearances, and his WRC plus is 94. He is 24 years old. I think he's a dude who could possibly make a difference for us. These other two guys I think were more throw-ins. Yeah, nothing too exciting there. So, where do we go from here? Well, our team is not that much different. I haven't set up the depth chart yet, but I think, Melendez, Collins, and Nemho. But there's actually another interesting position battle for first base. go ahead and take a look here at Mr. Yoel Tejada Jr., who came over the deadline kind of as a throw-in in that deal with Nemho. But he hit everywhere he's been, and then he just keeps getting better. Like, look at this. And then, like, look at since we've traded for him last July. Like, everything's getting better. And he's 6'7". Wow, nice. He was 38th overall in 2022. And he's a really great defensive first baseman. I don't know. I think he's got a shot. And he's a switch hitter. I think he's got a shot at, where's he? Let's see. I'll finish that thought in a second. Does he have, like, bad splits? So lefties, against lefties, he's an 89. Against righties, at a 112. Wow. Okay, cool. I think he's got a shot at winning the first base job. Collins and Nemho will be in that competition as well. Garcia will be in the second base competition, probably mainly with, Nick Lofton, maybe, Brooks Lee, Sapero, Amador. All those guys will get some looks there. And then Witt and Lopez are locked in. Buelvis will start off as the starting left fielder, but Pena certainly in the conversation. Luis Rodriguez in the conversation. Carlos Rodriguez in this conversation. Mayer and Ohtani will complete the outfield. And then TJ White has the inside track on the DH spot. But Nemho, Collins, and Tejada, I think, all in that discussion as well. So we need a couple of these young guys to step up. We need Witt, Melendez, Ohtani to really have superstar seasons, and hopefully we can have a bounce back offensive year. I'm not holding my breath, but I think we can be a much better team than last year, though. Rotation: Singer, Marsh, Ohtani, Lacey, and then it'll be a battle between Zerpa and Garcia, I think, here. Castillo certainly will get some consideration, guy we brought over from Detroit last year. Gurton will certainly get a chance, the guy we got from Boston. I think to start the spring, it'll be Garcia in here. Now, that does leave our 40-man with just one lefty in it that's not in the rotation. So one of these guys, Garcia or Zerpa, will be in the bullpen, and I'll bring up some other guys too. But that's how the team's looking going into spring training. So, fingers crossed when we jump ahead here, I don't have any injuries to report when I come back. But we'll hop into spring training, and hopefully we're on our way to a season, a bounce-back season. All right, we're up to opening day, April 5th, 2027. Good news. In the preseason predictions, we're predicted to win the division with 91 wins. That would actually top the NL. And 750 runs, I don't know, just eyeballing it, looks like maybe middle of the pack. The ERA of 3.83 looks rather outstanding. Only a few teams are below 4, and we are one of them. Here we've got Shohei Ohtani, possibly emerging as a top hitter this year. Not emerging, you know what I mean. Will Klein showing up in the top pitchers. So that's the good news. The bad news is we're going to do it without some key players. Our number one starter, Alec Marsh, is out for 6 to 7 months with shoulder inflammation. That is a total gut punch. It happened on March 27th, which was late in spring training. I just thought, man, the injuries aren't looking too bad. And then this popped up. And shoulder injuries are never good. But either way, it just sucks to lose your number one starter for basically the whole year. He's probably going to miss the whole year. Starting shortstop Nicky Lopez is going to miss the first 6 weeks with a strained hamstring. That's obviously a bummer. He's a huge part of our defense. He's had some good offensive seasons. And then Caleb Appleby, who was a 7th-round pick in 2022, probably wasn't going to make the team, but he's out with a strained shoulder. He did pitch 26 innings for us last year. And then there were a bunch of position battles, and we'll get to who won them. So you're starting first base. Obviously got Melendez at catcher. Tristan Nemho, the guy we got from Colorado, he won the starting first base job with a really good spring, and hopefully he can carry that on. Now, with Lopez missing time, that slides Eduardo Garcia, the guy we got from the Red Sox with the 70 infield range, over to be our starting shortstop, which opens up second base for Nick Lofton, who we really thought was going to be more of a utility player this year. He had a great spring. He didn't play a ton, but a 417 average. He had a 1045 OPS. Yeah, that's pretty good. And then Buelvis won the starting left field job. TJ White won the starting designated hitter job. So who's that leave? Darryl Collins will play first, left, right, and DH. Not on an everyday basis, but he'll get plenty of playing time. Carlos Rodriguez, who has just hit everywhere, including last year in 69 plate appearances, put up a 128 OPS plus. He will get plenty of playing time as well. Actually, I need to give him some left field playing time here as well. Put him in every... Actually, let's do this, because Collins is getting playing time at first base. All right, cool. And then... So that's kind of the team. Adel Amador also, he kind of grabbed the roster spot that was opened up with Nicky Lopez being out, and he'll be a utility infielder for us. He hit really well in spring training. We're looking for bats, man. We're looking for bats. We got him in a deal with Colorado last year. Which deal was? Oh, we got him from Mike Yastrzemski. Right. Pitching side of things with Marsh out, we have a very left-handed rotation. I just put Ohtani third and Lacy second to break up the lefties. So Singer, Lacy, Ohtani, Zerpa, and Garcia, all guys who have spent time in our rotation. Obviously, the top three are established. Zerpa, yeah, he's actually pretty established in rotation too. 23 and 25 starts the last 2 years. Garcia has pitched well, but he's only had 7 starts. But he's been really effective at the major league level in 166 innings. He's put up a 3.19 ERA and a 3.58 FIP. So that opened up some holes in our bullpen for lefties. We got the Klein, Murphy, Caraway, Martinez back for, and then Hernandez is back for another year. Alberto Pacheco, who has never pitched above high A, but he pitched well in spring training, and he looks decently ready in terms of our scouting, and he's a lefty. We got him from Colorado in that Orze deal. So Nemho, our starting first baseman. Pacheco here made the team. Tejada was in the mix for the first base job. And then Brandon Hendricks, who was a 2023 pick for us, pitched some for us last year, not very well. But hopefully he can be a decent long man. Starlin Castillo, he will function as an opener for us, followed by Garcia. He's a guy who pitched 40 innings for us last year to a 2.70 ERA. So expecting him to be an anchor there in the long relief role. And then Noel Vela is a guy that I signed in 2025 as a minor league free agent, and he's just kind of been AAA depth, and that comes in handy now because we needed a lefty arm, so he's going to be that. So that's the squad. Player development, we still got the number 1 farm system. Really, it's still on the backs of the guys we've signed as international free agents that are still quite young, 19, 19, 17, 18, 20. You know, we've got some potential superstars, but also some potential guys who never make it out of A-ball. We'll see what happens. Cam Collier, our first-round pick from 2022, has come onto the scene as the number 198 prospect in baseball. He was in camp but didn't have a good spring, but looking for him to follow up on a monster 2026 year. He finally emerged on the scene. Adel Amador is there. These are recent draft picks. Greatzer was 2026 round 1 pick, and Turnquist was a 2026 round 3 pick. So we've got some guys hopefully climbing up the ladder, but it's going to be tough without our number 1 starter, and we've also not got our starting shortstop for 6 weeks. But hey, I think we know what we'll get. Well, I shouldn't be so confident, but Melendez, Witt, and Ohtani are so established, and then we've got a bunch of question marks, right? White, Buelvis, Nemho, Collins, Rodriguez. Like, we need 1 or 2 of those guys to show that they're capable of being a major league starter, or we're in trouble. And that's just kind of where we're at with our budget and what we could do this offseason. We couldn't fill the other holes externally. So I'll play a little bit into the season here. We'll jump up a little bit and see what kind of start the team gets off to here in 2027. Okay, so now it's May 1st, so we're about a month into the season. We are 11-13. It looks kind of bad being this far down the standings, but we're kind of in the thick of it. Other than like the Astros and the Rockies just appear to want to run away from everybody. In the wild card, we're only 2.5 back. Of course, a lot of teams there, but we're a little hot streak away from looking pretty solid. A cold streak away from looking like another really bad season. So let's see. Pythagorean is 12-12. So we've played about like a 500 team, and we're 2 games below 500. It's interesting how we've gotten there. If you want a good laugh, we're 11-13 despite being 7th in runs scored in the NL. We're 12th in runs allowed. Our bullpen is 15th in the NL. Our fielding's really good, but our bullpen's been bad. Our starters have been solid. The bullpen has been the strength of this team for a while. So it's like, all right, well, we got the offense on track, but now our bullpen's going poorly. Will Klein has had a poor season so far. He's walking 7.9 guys per 9. It's only in 18 innings, but what's a reliever's season going to be? I mean, he's on pace for 123. That would be a lot. But the 4.42 ERA and 4 FIP, certainly not what we want, or the 8.8 strikeout to walk rate, not what we want from our ace reliever. We're going to need him to get better. Murphy and Carraway have been good. Seth Martinez, kind of our 4th guy, right? I kind of consider the bullpen these 4 guys and then figure it out from there. But Martinez has also been terrible with a 6.14 ERA and an 8.47 FIP. Sierra's a bit better, but he's not going to give up 3.7 home runs per 9 all season. From there, Alfredo Garcia has had a rough go in the rotation. The rest of the rotation's been very solid. Brandon Hendricks and Starlin Castillo have both been great out of the bullpen. We just called up Ryan Kennedy because we need a fresh arm. He's a 6th-round pick of our team, and he was pitching well so far in AAA. Well, he's pitching fine in AAA. And Hendricks is a former draft pick. Castillo we got in a trade. So, I think that we have the same arms that in our bullpen that have treated us well for many seasons. Really, just we need Klein and Martinez to get on track. I think that's what it comes down to for the bullpen. And I not having any money to make trades is difficult, obviously. And I've started kind of looking around to see if I don't have enough minor league arms in my system, so I that's why I see all these pending offers. I've started looking at often sometimes on the trading block you can find guys that the AI is willing to eat all of their salary, and that's basically what we're going to have to do. We're not at that point yet. They're not willing to do it. Duran is a guy who we've explored, but he's still really good, but also expensive. Nate Eovaldi has had a really rough start to the year and was hurt a lot of last year, so he's not all that appealing. And a lot of these relievers, teams just aren't willing to eat the deals yet, and that's what we're going to need to have happen, basically. We've even looked at Marcus Stroman, who has just been a dominant AAA pitcher last year and this year. He just turned 36. I thought maybe I could bring him in as my 5th starter, and then that kind of just bumps everybody down a notch, right? We can then put Garcia to the bullpen, and then we can bump, it just adds a little depth, even if he's not going to be great. But even though he's in AAA, the Cubs are just not really willing to deal him for anything reasonable as a 36-year-old who's on a minor league contract. They want like an actual valuable piece from my organization. So, we are going to need to make upgrades. We're just not able to yet. The prices haven't dropped enough to where teams are eating the deals yet. So on the offensive side of things, there are some bright spots. There's some things going well, as you can tell by where we rank, led by Melendez and Ohtani, just crushing it. Buelvas, our starting left fielder, has been solid. Nemho's gotten hot. He's looking decent at first base. Witt has heated up after a slow start. TJ White, Amador, fine. We're going to keep running them out there. Amador is now the starting second baseman over Nick Lofton, who's had a disaster start. Garcia, the guy we got from Boston and thought his bat could possibly be decent. It hasn't worked out that way so far. We're going to need more from him. Collins and Rodriguez have not played well. So starting to think about how we can tweak this, because we do have other guys at the minor league level. I'm not ready to give up on like Collins and Rodriguez. They both had good couple months with us last season, and I don't want to write them off based off of like fewer than 50 plate appearances. At the same time, we gotta get going here. We gotta win games. And Ryan Sapero has been ripping the cover off the ball down in AAA. He's a great fielder. He was really bad for us at the dish in 188 plate appearances last year, but the BABIP was really bad. But I don't know, maybe he can come up and provide a spark, and I think I would option Nick Lofton. I think that's the one move I'm ready to make at this point, and what that would do is then, he'd compete for playing time at second and short with Garcia and Amador, neither of who have like locked down a job. Lofton would go down. Outfield, I'm not ready to do anything yet, but Eric Pena is knocking on the door again, and now he's a guy who was really, really good through his minor league career. He was good for us last year, but his defense is, for some reason, just really bad no matter where he plays. He looks decent scouting-wise, but you can see in left field in 21 games, it's already got a minus 2.4 zone rating, and that's kind of like how it's gone for him. For us, he only played 65 innings last year, and it's a minus 2. And the year before that, that was in right field. In left field, he was minus 3.1 in only 48 games. Like, those are really bad numbers. So I want to call him up. I guess maybe I could run TJ White out as, with Buelvis kind of locked in at left field and doing well. I guess it could cost TJ White playing time essentially. So I think he's kind of on notice for losing playing time, even though he was excellent last year in 308 plate appearances. So I don't really want to quit on him yet. So yeah, we're kind of stuck in that Pena can't play the field. Buelvis is kind of locked down left field, but Pena could come up, I think, at some point for Rodriguez and Collins and just kind of play DH some, and then White could back up in left field some. So kind of like rotate left field DH between Buelvis, Pena, and White. But we're gonna need Melendez and Ohtani to continue to be great. We're gonna need Witt to continue to pick up his offensive production, and then we'll go from there. I have hope for this team. I'm seeing some performance from some guys that I think we can build upon. I'd love to get Nicky Lopez back, but he had a setback and he's now out another 3 weeks. Of course, the Marsh injury is really hard to deal with. This is an interesting time because we need to upgrade this team, but I'm stuck in a way I haven't been stuck before budget-wise. But all is not lost. I think this team has the potential. Hopefully the narrator's voice doesn't come back for the next episode with, it turns out this team did not have the ability to do anything. But we're doing the best we can with what we've got. And I think this kind of trial run on some of these bats like Collins and Rodriguez, etc., I think we will, maybe give them another 2 weeks or so and then get more aggressive. And, calling Pena up. Hopefully the trade market will develop and that teams will be willing to eat more salary as the year goes on. So we'll come back next episode. I don't know, probably pick it up in July, maybe around the trade deadline. But hopefully we've got a competitive team here, and hopefully some of these guys have continued to step up. Interesting times in Kansas City, though. Thank you all for watching, and I also wanted to say thank you to all of you who donated to the Team Fox Parkinson's Research fundraiser that I talked about on many episodes. Many of you donated it, and I appreciate it, and I will talk to you guys next time. Thank you. Bye.